everybody, and welcome back to a very special podcast. This is the podcast in which we talk about all of your favorite TV series from yesteryear and discuss them over a glass of wine. I am Patrick M. Dunn. Perhaps you know me from the previous 100-ish episodes, and I'm joined here by the illustrious, the wonderful, the amazing Kat Halstead, the author.
Hello. Wow, that was quite the introduction this morning, Patrick.
I figured I'd change it up in the new year. New us, new episodes. Tonight's going to be a wild one, I think. I think we're getting a little, we're going back to our roots, maybe?
Something like that. I love that I said good morning and you're like, tonight.
I don't know. We literally have no idea what time of day it is because we literally, the two of us just stay up 24 hours a day.
Pretty much.
Days at a time.
I legit was like up until like 4:30 in the morning watching Grace and Frankie.
Yeah, shout out to Grace and Frankie back on the air. They're here to bless us. I was watching, actually, when you texted me and said, hey, should we just record this podcast today? I had just finished watching for like the millionth time Telma and Louise.
I have only seen it once.
What? Girl, get on Amazon Prime right now and watch that.
I got a story about that. So like I saw it once in college. This girl I was friends with invited me over. She's like, let's have dinner and watch a movie. Okay, whatever.
Girls' night.
After the movie, she basically told me how she wanted my ex-boyfriend. And I wasn't going to stand in her way of getting him when he and I were on the road to reconciling.
This was like a catty night. You thought this was going to be like girls bonding, having a glass of wine, crying over a great chick flick, but no, it turned into a catty evening of Kat and some random college chick just going at it. Dynasty OG style.
That was actually like a week or two later in the bathroom at the bar.
Ooh, in a bathroom at a bar.
When she tried to start shit without me.
Ooh, you know what?
And everybody looked at her like, bitch, are you really seriously tried to start shit with this girl? After what we've just heard you say to her? I don't think so.
The old 5-finger slap across the face?
Oh, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I did. I walked away because I'm the bigger person.
Oh, shout out to that. Shout out to being the bigger person. I'm proud of you, Kat Halstead.
Yes.
We are a podcast about female empowerment. We don't want bickering between y'all.
No, I don't play games.
So, because of that crazy-ass story, I guess you have a sour spot with Telma and Louise? Is that it?
It doesn't have that, like, female empowerment feeling that it should.
Because of that moment in time?
Like, it's very vivid still in my head, way too many years later.
Maybe we need to reprogram you. Maybe we'll have, like, movie night. We'll watch Telma and Louise, and then maybe we'll watch it together via Google Hangouts and just pray that Telma and Louise actually don't drive off the cliff of the Grand Canyon, which every time I watch it, I just, like, think to myself, like, maybe they'll not do it this time.
Maybe this time.
That's how much of a powerful movie it is to me. Even though I know the ending, a part of me is like still like, you know what, maybe they won't make that shitty decision this time. Maybe they won't shoot Harlan in the chest.
Oh, Patrick.
Who knows? Maybe Susan Sarandon will just walk away. And they'll get to their cabin in the woods and go fishing with Daryl's fishing equipment.
Maybe one day.
Sorry, just wiping little tears away from my eyes, just thinking about the very poetic demise of Telma and Louise, I will say that. But anyway... Anywho, we are breaking into TGIF month. The next, 4 weeks, we're going to be doing TGIF-only sitcoms. And what is our debut into this world? How are we going to make a splash?
We started with the classic Family Matters.
Yes, it's basically like ABC's answer to the Cosby Show. Initially, anyway, it's about a middle-class African-American family living in the city of Chicago, I believe is where the Winslows live. Mm-hmm. And started with episode 12, which is the one we decided to watch tonight. Things got flipped upside down with the arrival of Steve Urkel. Jaleel White makes his debut in the episode that we watched, which...
Yes.
I don't know. Very mixed feelings about this. What about you?
Steve Urkel is problematic from the start.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed this show.
I mean, it's not as bad as he gets later on in the series.
Yes. He's pretty much like a guest character in this episode. He doesn't take charge.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like a majority of the jokes and storyline and plotline. He's kind of in the background. I think if Family Matters stuck with that type of show, I think it would have been a better show. It probably would have been more enjoyable and longer lasting appeal. What do you think?
I get why he became popular. I do. I think.
You think? I don't understand it. Because I watched this episode and I was like, he was annoying as fuck. Like, I didn't even think he was funny. Like, he subtracted from the show. He didn't add anything to it to me.
But there's something about Jaleel that is interesting to watch. I think that's what it is. It's more Jaleel than Urkel, the character.
Yes, I think because Jaleel White in real life, IRL, is just nothing like Steve Urkel. And I just thought he does a good job of portraying that type of character. Mm-hmm. You know, just hiking up his pants, throwing the suspenders, tucking them in, throwing on those like oversized glasses. He nailed the part, but I don't know. I think it was just what Urkel became.
Yes.
Just kind of ruined the show for me because I will admit, I loved this show when it first came out. I even loved the first few seasons. But I definitely got Urkel fatigue very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a show that you watched, and it might not have been your favorite TGIF show, but it was part of the lineup, and you watched that whole lineup as a kid.
Yes, it was in betwixt two staples for me. We'll get to it shortly. We'll talk about that.
I remember once we hit like middle school, I didn't really care as much about missing Family Matters as I might have about, say, a Boy Meets World episode. You know, if I had a school dance that night.
Yeah, you would have had mom tape Boy Meets World for you on the old VHS video cassette tape, but you said, you know what, you can just skip Urkel. I'll just catch it on the rerun in the summer or something, or that like random like January day when when rerun heaven right now.
Exactly, like there was no, oh, Mark, you need to like record Family Matters along with the Boy Meets World episode or anything.
Yes, because I remember being in third grade, probably like 90, 91-ish, and I fell victim to like the Urkel mania. I had the talking doll with the pull string, and he did all the catchphrases.
Oh my god.
I bought Urkel cereal. I had the t-shirts. You could have just slapped Urkel's stupid face on anything and I would have bought it.
Wow, okay. Like, back in that time period, I was all about Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Macaulay Culkin Home Alone pull string doll also. Yeah, I fell victim to all this shit. So, I was the pure demographic for all the stupid shit that came out.
I think my mother was just like, no, we're not buying all this Urkel shit.
But when I hit like fourth grade though, the love for Urkel just started to wind down. But for some reason though, the show still lasted like all of the 90s. Like it was on to like 98.
Yeah, it
98, 99.
It lasted like a super long time. Like I'm surprised. Like I think about it and I'm like, really? How did it go on that long? It would never last that long today.
It even hopped networks. It went from ABC to CBS.
Yeah, along with Step by Step, which is like the weirdest thing in my head.
Yes.
Like, I remember when it happened and being like, oh, okay. And then I just stopped watching. Like, because it wasn't on ABC, I wasn't watching anymore.
And then at some point, Family Matters turned into like a weird sci-fi type show. Like Urkel was like cloning himself. He built a robot. He went to outer space. I believe the final episode, he's trying to propose to Laura, but he can't because he's like, his spaceship broke down in outer space, so he can't get back to Earth.
I have never seen the final episode.
Neither have I.
Terrified to ever watch it.
I know. It sounds like, you know, when you take a lot of Tylenol PM and you just have weird dreams.
Yeah, Kat knows that really well.
That is what the final episode of Family Matters probably is. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll watch it one of these days. Who knows? All right, but what is the title of tonight's episode?
Tonight's episode is called Laura's First Date.
Yes, and it's season 1, episode 12, I believe?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, so we are halfway into the season of Family Matters. It wasn't doing too hot. They threw in a weird guest star, Jaleel White, and for some reason the audience took to him. People in the live studio audience were like chanting his name like after the filming wrapped. So the producer was like, "Oh shit! Like we need to get more Steve Urkel." So they already had like a number of episodes filmed already. So then they had to like they just did the opening scenes and just added Urkel to them, like make it seem like he was there all along. Mm-hmm. And they even went back and retroactively added him to like episodes they've already done.
Yeah, I was reading about that. I was like, that is so weird.
Yes, wild stuff. Wild stuff.
But, like, I feel as though some shows do that. Like, the new episodes of Will and Grace, I'm pretty sure, like, they're taped a bit in advance, but then they, like, go in and they add little, like, current jokes.
To make it timely.
Like, there was one with, like, Trump and the paper towels. Like, it had just happened, like, a week or two before. And they had a joke about it in an episode. I was like, huh,
Who knows? I mean, maybe they do it all in a week notice, kind of like the way they do it with South Park. Like literally things that happen. They're probably doing South Park episodes right now that'll air next week, which is crazy to me.
Exactly.
When did this episode air? When did this episode originally air?
Was it December 15th, 1989 or something like that?
Yes, it was. Christmas came early this year and Santa delivered us Urkel.
Oh, Santa, why were we so naughty?
They also delivered us a lot of great other television. Are you ready to hear what else was on this night?
Yes, I am dying to know what else was on this night.
All right, shall we start off with ABC, the alphabet, the home network of TGIF?
Yeah, let's start off with that and then quickly get through the others.
All right, so things kicked off at 8 o'clock with Full House, the classic family comedy starring Bob Saget, John Stamos, Dave Coulier, the Olsen twins, and like a million other people. Do you want to know what episode of Full House was on tonight?
Yes, tell me what episode.
All right, this one's called Joey and Stacy and Oh Yeah, Jesse. Do you know this one?
I believe it's one where Joey dates a girl, but then she wants to date Jesse.
Yeah, Joey's new girlfriend thinks he should be more aggressive. And side plot, Comet the puppy is an undisciplined chewer.
Oh, Comet.
So we always got to have a little...
Comet.
We always got to have a little fluff on the side.
That's the Full House brand.
Yeah, 8:30 is Family Matters, Laura's first date. We'll get to that in a few moments, so just stand by, fans. We'll talk all about it. What do you think was on at 9? Do you have any guesses?
Perfect Strangers?
Hell yeah, the show that actually spun off. The Family Matters actually spun off from Perfect Strangers.
Yes.
And this was also took place in Chicago. Larry and Balky and the girls.
Jennifer and Marianne.
Yeah, Jennifer and Marianne.
And they're so happy they're going to do the Dance of Joy.
Any guesses on what was on at 9:30?
No idea. Just the 10 of us?
Yes, our gal pals, Heather Langenkamp and Jamie Luner.
Yes, that was like a total random guess.
Just the 10 of us, the popular TGIF sitcom that was on for a couple years. It's very, very hard to find. I don't think this one made it over to Hulu yet, right?
No, it hasn't.
All right, well, we'll have to do some petitioning. Usually whenever we say we want something to be on the air, miraculously, like 3 weeks later, we find out that Hulu has thrown it on there.
It's been like crazy. Like, okay, Ryan texted me and it was like, can you guys talk about Murder, She Wrote so it'll end up on Hulu?
We have been talking about Murder, She Wrote quite frequently lately. The Szechuan Dragon episode we talked about, I believe, in the Riverdale episode that we did last week. So who knows? Maybe next week we will shit our pants when we find out when Hulu has announced that just the 10 of us will be on there. We can have like Heather Langenkamp night.
Yes.
All right. 10 o'clock. What do you think was on 10 o'clock on ABC?
2020.
Hell yeah.
Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs.
Yeah, Babs and Hugh just talking about human interest stories. I don't know, crimes, just weird things, political espionage.
Just weird interviews with people.
Yeah, like the most fascinating people of 1989. We're probably getting ready, gearing up for that maybe.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Are you ready for the Tiffany Network, CBS?
Yeah, I'm curious what was on this night.
All right, from 8 to 9.
Like Magnum PI or something?
No. Even we got a hot night on CBS. Hottest night of television ever.
Okay, tell me.
Things kick off at 8 p.m. with the annual classic, from 8 to 9, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, Rudolph!
But we probably weren't watching it. We were probably watching Full House and Family Matters, let's be real. By 1989, you've probably seen Rudolph a million times. You probably had tape recorded it from the previous year and just worn out a blank cassette tape that's grainy as fuck.
Yeah.
So you can watch it later on. You can watch it all for the next 10 days as you geared up for Christmas. What do you think you got for Christmas in 1989? Do you remember?
I got the Whitney doll.
Ooh.
Which was a Barbie doll. But it wasn't Barbie. It was one of her friends.
Oh, okay.
And she was a beauty queen.
Ooh, I don't think I know her. I think 1989, I think this is the year that I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sewer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know if Mario Brothers 2 was out yet. It might have been too early for Mario Brothers 2.
Or maybe I got Midge.
Oh, maybe not Mario Brothers 2, maybe Mario Brothers 3. Shout out to Midge, though. I just thought of Marge Simpson.
Yeah, I definitely got one of Barbie's friends that year.
One of her lesser-known friends?
Yeah. Midge is like her best friend, like, forever.
Why have I never heard of this bitch's name? Why don't I know this bitch?
I don't know.
If you know Midge, tweet us at Very Podcast. Tweet us a pic of you holding Midge in 1989.
Yeah, exactly.
We had matching hair. All right. Are you ready for CBS 9 o'clock?
Yes. What was on at 9?
We are going into Dallas.
Oh, my babies.
Yeah, we're probably like the final years of Dallas. Things are winding down. Things aren't so hot anymore.
Mm-hmm.
lot of cast members are probably left.
Yes, probably.
Stories are being recycled. Not so hot, but someone's watching it because it's still on.
Totally.
All right, you ready for 10 o'clock? Do you have any guesses what might have been on following Dallas?
No idea, honestly.
Think of a sparring family in Napa Valley, I believe. Wine moguls.
Falcon Crest.
Yes, Falcon Crest, starring David Selby of Dark Shadows, which I've recently actually dived into the OG Dark Shadows on Amazon Prime. And
Oh, yeah?
weird as fuck show. Yeah, weird as fuck, but very, very fun. I kind of get angry at the way they treat some of the female characters on the show.
Yeah.
Like Carolyn Stoddard was dancing loosely in quotation marks in one episode, and her boyfriend got mad at her for like dancing in a bar while she was drinking. So
Men are such pigs.
someone needs to Thelma and Louise his ass.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I don't know. Maybe Victoria Winters and Carolyn Stoddard could go on a road trip to the Grand Canyon. You want to head over to NBC, and then we can get into the main event.
Yes, what was NBC?
All right, NBC, hot night of TV. Before it was a syndicated dreamboat. It spent, I think, one season on NBC. Baywatch!
Ooh, yes, it did.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an NBC season, though. I'm gonna be real.
That's probably like the really early ones with like Billy Warlock.
Yeah, just kind of not so sexy, but
Before Pamela Anderson.
yeah, like what happened before Pamela Anderson?
I don't really remember.
Yeah, it was all a dream, not a real show. Pamela Anderson is the Steve Urkel of Baywatch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hot scoop. Hot scoop.
Hot scoop.
All right. Do you want to know what was on at 9 p.m.?
Yeah, I'm dying to know. What followed Baywatch?
I have never heard of the show, but I am intrigued by the people who are on this. Have you ever heard of a show called True Blue?
What's it called?
True Blue.
True Blue. Okay.
All right. This was an American crime drama series set in New York City, which aired on Friday evenings for one season. It follows the exploits of a squad of uniformed officers assigned to the specialized trucks of the NYPD's Emergency Services Unit. Sounds kind of boring, but guess who it stars? Guess who's in the show?
I have no idea. Tell me.
Perhaps you know Mr. Grant Show? Our boy toy Grant Show, who like a year or two later would go on to star on Melrose Place. And perhaps you know our gal pal, Allie Walker.
Whoa. A boy toy and a gal pal.
Who currently stars on Fox's Ghosted. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm so surprised by this cast, but I know nothing about it. And obviously it didn't do too well because we're not doing a podcast about True Blue. All right, are you ready for what was following True Blue?
Yes, what was on after?
All right, another one-season wonder, a show called Mancuso FBI.
What?
Mancuso FBI. This stars Robert Loggia as Nick Mancuso, a hardened veteran of the Bureau, now assigned to Washington, D.C., where he was largely regarded by his superiors and bureaucratic types as a maverick, with little regard for agency rules. So it's kind of like, those people that just like don't follow the rules and just does whatever he wants to, but gets the job done kind of show.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Which, I don't know, those type of shows like a dime a dozen.
Yeah, I'm like, they're like way a dime a dozen. Goodness.
But it didn't do too hot because it was canceled after 20 episodes. I almost said seasons.
I was like, oh, didn't do too good for 20 seasons, bitch.
Yeah. I'm like, that would have still been on the air right now, right?
Who starred in it?
Robert Loggia, who I don't know. Do you know that guy?
Yeah, I don't know the name.
All right, let's do a little IMDb into the world of Robert Loggia. He died in 2015. He won the Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor for Big in 1988.
Okay.
He was also, he's been in episodes of Malcolm in the Middle, The Sopranos, Men of a Certain Age, that weird like Ray Romano show that was on TNT, I think.
With Scott Bakula and, who is it?
Andre Broher. And Lisa Gay Hamilton was on that on that show too. And so that's Robert Loggia, however you say his name. Rest in peace, dude.
Okay.
Sorry the Mancuso FBI didn't work out for you, but you got to be on a show with Ray Romano and Scott Bakula and Andre Brower.
Yeah.
On that note, shall we get into the wild world of the Winslow clan?
Yes, let us dive into the family from Family Matters and their weird neighbor kid.
Yeah. So how do things start? How do things kick off, Kat Halstead?
Okay, so this episode starts with like just a small little cold open scene. Teenage son Eddie in a pink dress that his aunt Rachel is hemming in the kitchen.
So Aunt Rachel is like a designer, I take it?
Yeah, like she's a seamstress, I think, at this point. I don't really know what she does.
Shout out to her, though. I love Rachel. I think in real life, I definitely would be best friends with Rachel.
Yeah, like Rachel, I think, was always like one of my favorite characters, and then she just disappears because the actress left the show for other opportunities.
Yeah, shout out to Telma Hopkins, I believe. Is that her name? Telma Hopkins?
Hopkins, yeah.
Yeah, she still regularly appears in stuff. Like, she is a busy bee. She just appears in tons of TV roles. She's always like a guest star on stuff. She's been on a lot of like UPN sitcoms of the early 2000s. Her resume is wild to me. And I'm like, wow, I just thought she would disappear. But no, she's still out there. She's hustling. Hopefully she has that blue check mark on Twitter.
Tony Orlando's group.
Yeah.
She was one of the girls in that.
Yeah, wild stuff to me. And low-key, Eddie from Family Matters is totally a Theo Huxtable ripoff to me.
He is.
Total ripoff.
You know what's fun is that the actor who played Eddie and the actor who later plays Richie, when they age him up, both went on to be on The Young and the Restless.
Yes, Darius McCrae, is that Eddie Winslow's name?
Yeah.
I think we just recently talked about this in an episode of a very special podcast.
I do.
Like a few episodes back, we brought this up.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't remember either. The poor man's recast of Malcolm, formerly played by Shamar Moore, so...
Oh, yeah, that's right. So he is the poor man's Shamar Moore and the poor man's Theo Huxtable.
Sorry, dude. Sorry.
Whenever, like, a very prominent African-American actor leaves a show, or they just, like, working on, like, a ripoff, Darius McCrae is your go-to guy, I think, right?
I guess so.
Like, I don't know, maybe in a couple of years it'd be like the poor man's Morgan Freeman.
That is a crazy thought.
So, anyway, Aunt Rachel is hemming a dress. Eddie is like the human mannequin.
Because, you need somebody to make sure that the hem lines are straight and they're falling in the right spot as best as you can. My favorite part is that it's a dress for his mother.
I think I missed that hot detail.
Yes, it's just for Harriet to wear. Yeah, it's something that Harriet wants to wear that night for whatever it is she and Carl are supposedly doing. It's not even like anything really important. It's just like this scene they tacked on to the start of the episode.
Yeah, they did that thing that a lot of sitcoms around this time did, is you have like the cold open, which is just some weird joke that has nothing to do with the rest of the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheers does it a lot. Malcolm in the Middle did it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to hear more about this wild night for Carl and Harriet. Like, just like, were they going to like a ball, like a fun dinner? Maybe there was like a police officer gala somewhere.
Yeah, it's like, what were they doing? Was it like a Saturday and they had to go to a wedding? Like, what was it?
Were the Temptations in town?
So,
And I don't think Eddie and Harriet are the same size. What do you think?
No, I don't. I was kind of like, really?
And that dress was really...
You got this boy?
That dress was really tight on Eddie, too.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't loose at all. And Eddie... Teenage Eddie was not... He was kind of slender. He wasn't... Like, Harriet is like a full-bodied woman.
Yeah, she's the mother of 3 at this point. Because they still have the younger sister who will vanish after season 4.
Judy? Is that her name?
Yes.
Judy pops up in the opening credits and in like a few scenes in this. And I was like, I forgot about her. I totes forgot about Judy.
Like, she exists, but not really. Like, she does... I feel like she never even really had any storyline. She was just kind of there.
Yeah, she was there. Like, they thought she was going to be like the Michelle Tanner of the show, but it never formulated.
Well, because then they added Urkel.
Yeah. So, hot scoop, conspiracy corner. Was Judy supposed to be Urkel?
Dun, dun, dun. Tweet us at Very Podcast and tell us.
Like, they wanted her to be like the fun, like, funny sister with like the cute catchphrases and stuff, but Urkel came along and they just didn't have any room for Judy. No more Judy. She went upstairs, never came back down, and I don't know, maybe she's in the attic. She's a corpse up there.
Basically, she did the soap opera go up to the attic for the skis and never came down.
Yeah, she didn't come down and was like 20 years older.
Yeah.
And then I believe in real life, the actress like went into porn, like when she like hit 18.
Yeah, she did. But there's literally like a soap character who went up to the attic and never came back down. And like years later, they had a character go up into that attic and there's like this skeleton sitting there with like a name tag on it of the character's name.
There's a lot of that in the world of television. I believe the Cunningham brother.
Chuck.
There's other shows that people disappeared on.
Yeah, like it happens. Like, Mad About You, like Paul's original best friend just vanishes.
Whenever a show gets retooled, just say goodbye to all the all the friends, the friend group, the fun friend group is disbanded.
Oh, hey, suddenly you have these new friends, and we're never going to mention the other ones ever again.
They've been around forever, apparently.
Yes.
Usually. All right. Shall we get into the meat and bones of Family Matters, Laura's first date?
Actually, can we talk about the iconic opening credits first?
Yeah, I think we should. I love the theme song. It's just very, very soothing.
Yeah, it's a nice, fun theme song. It's a long opening credit.
Oh, yes. It reminds me of the Too Many Cooks.
Yes.
It just goes on forever.
But my favorite part is that that clip where Carl and Eddie are moving something in the kitchen and it breaks the window and they have the glass shattering sound in the opening credits.
Yes, I was going to comment on that. So, it's the theme song. Like, not many theme songs have sound effects in them, like of what's going on the screen. But yeah, like they're like moving like a table or something, and it just like backs into the glass door, and you hear the fake glass breaking sound, and it's great. I love it.
It's amazing. Like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, this is freaking wonderful. Like, this is my favorite part right here. That.
It almost like takes you out of it for a minute too. Like it takes you out of the theme song for a second, because I was like, whoa, wait.
It's like, wait,
back?
What just happened?
Literally, when I was watching this 2 days ago, I rewinded it and watched it again because I kind of like was not paying attention for a minute. I was like looking at my phone, like seeing what else Telma Hopkins was in. And then I heard that noise and I was like, whoa, what the fuck just happened?
Yes.
Like, did something break in my house or was it the TV show?
Yeah, like I watched it originally on my phone the other night when you reminded me that we had to do this episode because I had totally forgotten. I've had so much other crap going on. And then I was like, oh yeah, I should watch that. I was like, oh, that's cool. I have to remember that. And then when I rewatched it again the next day, I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
All right. So after the iconic opening theme song, we come back. I believe we're in the kitchen again. Still in the kitchen. Harriet's just kind of chilling. I think like Laura comes home from somewhere, right?
Yeah, like Laura's coming home from school and Laura wants to go to this school dance. And I think we should just call it the dance.
All right. Yeah, because I think there must have been something going on, like in the script, or they had to like do like reshoots or something, because from scene to scene, it's either called a dance or a party.
I feel like if it were a party, there wouldn't be as much pressure to have a date as for a school dance back in like middle school, you know? Like, I feel like dances had more pressure. Like, I always suddenly had to have a boyfriend, like, when we had a dance.
I have a feeling that they originally filmed it, and it was a party. And they probably, like, filmed the whole episode, and they were like, what the fuck? Wait.
Yeah.
Why would you wear a fancy-ass dress to a party and have pressure to find a date? We need to make it a dance.
Unless it's, like, the first boy-girl party, but even then, like, I remember our first boy-girls party, and we weren't like, oh, we have to be, like, fancy dresses.
Yeah, like you just wear fun jeans and I don't know, you don't need a date. Like you go there to meet dates. Like that's the whole point of like a boy-girl party.
Yeah, like you go there and you have Brian and Brian fight over you.
Yeah.
Like it happens. True story.
I have a theory that like, they filmed the whole episode as a party and then someone was watching that, someone like was editing the episode or something. They're like, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. And they tried to go back and like redo the scenes, but they probably didn't have enough time. They probably only had like maybe a week to do it. And they just refilmed as much as they could. So they just added the word dance to like 3 or 4 scenes. But the rest, they weren't able to fix.
Part of me wants to go back and rewatch and see which scenes say dance and which scenes say party. And if Urkel is in those scenes.
I didn't think of it really until the end of the episode. And then I Googled the episode and it actually came up on a number of websites. A number of websites mention it as a goof. Like I think IMDb mentions it as a goof.
Yeah.
They interchange the word dance and party very seamlessly too. Like you wouldn't even think twice.
Part of me wants to believe, like I can say, like maybe Harriet had to convince herself it's a party and not a dance to finally be okay with like Laura having a date. Because that's like my favorite thing is that Harriet's all like, oh hell no, my daughter is not dating. Carl's like, oh let her date. Like you would think the cop dad would be like, oh hell no.
Yeah, like he's seen a lot. Like he's seen shit. He just sees the boy-girl dynamic out there. He probably like arrests teens and stuff like necking at Lover's Lane in Chicago. The Chicago equivalent of like the cliff overlooking the town.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe like Harriet had a bad experience in middle school. Like maybe she had a bad breakup.
Maybe. Or maybe she wasn't the one dating in middle school because Rachel sure was.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like something, Harriet's seen or experienced something in her life that she's like, oh, hell no, my 12-year-old daughter is not dating boys right now.
Exactly. Like, okay, to be fair, I wasn't supposed to be like dating until I was like way older.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, everyone.
But I definitely had boyfriends.
Yeah, like we have like that secret quote unquote boyfriend that like you don't tell your mom about.
Yeah, totally. His name was Brian Greenwood.
Yeah, shout out to Brian Greenwood wherever you are. Tweet us at Very Podcast if you're listening to this.
If you do, that'll be like super weird.
Tell us some like wacky 12-year-old cat stories. Oh, like tell us about like the time that like you and Kat went to the bowling alley or something.
We never actually like did anything like that. We just went to dances together, and then I'd like break up with him like the next day at school, and then we get back together before the next dance.
I was gonna say, like, is he like you're just like your school dance boyfriend, like your recurring boyfriend?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, you know what? You just need someone to go to the dance with. You need someone to walk in with. You don't really need to talk to them after the dance or like any other time of the day, but then it's like the next day, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, everybody's always like, we had friends who were always like trying to set us up. I'm like, he's already been my boyfriend. Why are you setting me up with him?
Did you do any French kissing at the school dances?
No.
Oh, I did a French kiss at a school dance once. It was weird.
That would be so awkward.
I went to the mall one time with my friend. Like we just like randomly went to the mall on a Friday night, and we ran into a girl that used to go to our school, but she moved to another town. She moved away in like 3rd or 4th grade. I haven't seen her in like 3 years. Mm-hmm. Ran into her when I was buying the Green Day Dookie album in 7th grade. And I was like, oh, hey, Christina, how you doing? She's like, hey. And then she was like with her girlfriends. Mm-hmm. And she's talking to my friend about like a dance coming up. Like, oh, like we have a school dance in 2 weeks in our town. Like you should come to it. So I like randomly got invited to go with like one of the girls. And then like we like talked on the phone every night. I didn't really like her that much. And then like honestly, like I forgot what she looked like. So then my mom dropped us off at the school dance in the neighboring town. And like I'm like looking around for her. And I was like, oh shit, like I won't recognize her. And I ran into Christina. I was like, hey Christina. And I was like, where's my date? And she's like, oh, over there. And she like pointed like in the general direction. There was like 3 girls over there. And I walked over and I walked up to like the group of girls. I was, hey. And they all like turned around and like said hi, and I was like, "Oh shit!" 20 minutes later, for no reason, I just like got peer pressured into like French kissing her, and it was weird. It was awkward. She had braces. I remember that. My lip like got tangled in it for a minute. Okay,
so like I had one year, it was like I always had like Brian for a date. It was just weird. And then like the next year, I always was hanging out at the dances with my guy friends. My friends Michael, Donald, Steven, and we would all like walk into the gym while Gangster's Paradise was playing. Because it was always like the first song at the dance. And we had like a dance every month.
So that must have been like 8th grade then. I believe 8th grade was the Gangster's Paradise year.
Okay, that was like legit me and Brian's song. That was like the song we always slow dance together to. I'm like, awkward is that?
Yeah, and then after that, they played that I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men, like near the end of the night when you had to have that slow dance.
Yeah.
Looking back, that is a weird song to play at like an 8th grade.
It was like super popular, so it was on Bended Knee.
Yeah, that was a good one too. Over the summer, I think I heard I'll Make Love to You, and I just like was listening to the lyrics. I don't think I ever actually paid attention to the lyrics when I was in 8th grade. Like I didn't realize what the words were. I just knew it was a slow song, like a slow song that you just like danced with chicks with.
Yeah.
I was listening to the lyrics of the summer, and I was like, holy shit, like they played this when I was in 8th grade, like at the Sons of Italy, like the local Sons of Italy. And it was just like, you were just like bumping your little weird 8th grade boner up against, probably cut that part out.
The boy and I are actually talking about this a couple weeks ago, how like new artists don't do slow songs to dance to anymore.
Yeah, you don't have like a hot R&B hit anymore, really.
Yeah, you don't have like this kind of music we had when we were kids. Like, yeah, they can go and look up what we had, but...
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Where are their slow dance favorites?
I mean, like, that probably ended with Usher, I think.
Usher.
Is there a post-Usher slow jam?
I can't think of any, like, recent... Like, I think the closest thing you have to, like, a slow dance song in the past, like, 15 or so years is something maybe by Taylor Swift, like, early on. Like Teardrops on My Guitar.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't even think I'd slow dance to Teardrops on My Guitar.
Like, they don't have that music that we had to, like, that made a dance awkward with the boys on one side and the girls on the other side.
Yeah, even like Britney Spears, like early-ass Britney Spears had, like, slow jams.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, now, like, the new Britney Spears albums, it's all just, like, club hits.
She's going on tour.
What are teens today slow dancing to? I guess just our hits of the 90s, I guess?
Like our stuff, like the John Cicada we listened to, and Sophie B. Hawkins, As I Lay Me Down to Sleep.
Damn, I wish I was your lover.
God.
All right.
They don't have the music for this anymore.
Like, well, there's like up-tempo Bruno Mars songs, I guess, that could be technically slow jams, I guess.
Maybe like
Treasure or something.
Yeah.
But it's very up-tempo and like upbeat, and It's not quite slow jammy. I don't know. We'll have to do a full investigation into this.
Yeah, like, seriously, what do people slow dance to now?
Anyway, Laura Winslow wants to go to the school dance. But Harriet is like, oh no, girl, you are not going.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way in hell you're going to this dance. You're going to stay home and you're going to watch their version of TGIF, whatever was on in their world. Dallas? I don't know. Oh, watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, perhaps?
Yeah, they're probably watching. She's like, you got to stay home and watch Rudolph.
Do you know what's so weird is this is not a Christmas episode either.
I think it's like the next episode is a Christmas episode or one after that.
Well, because 10 days later would have been like Christmas Day. So like, I just feel like they wouldn't air a Christmas episode. This is probably like their last episode of the year until like January.
Maybe. Huh.
So I don't know. Maybe. Well, you know what though? Like hot scoop. Sometimes like first seasons of shows don't have holiday episodes.
That's true.
I think we talked about this when we did Roseanne.
We've talked about it, yeah. Like, they will do they'll like pick and choose which holiday they do that first season. So it'll either be Thanksgiving or Christmas, if you get one.
Yeah, like it's kind of this thing where they don't really know the show's going to be a hit, so like they don't want to like bless us with a holiday themed episode.
But they're like, we've talked about this, they're like the best ones to dive into a show with.
Yeah, like it's a good way to like start the show. Like if this show's been on for like 3 years already and you want to get into it, like your friends are like won't stop talking about the facts of life.
Yeah.
And you're not sure like, oh, it's been on for 3 years. Like, where do I start? Start with like the Christmas episode.
Exactly.
So Harriet's like, oh no, you are not going to this dance. Laura just like decides that she's going to do it anyway. Actually, no. Before she decides she's going to do it anyway, she butters up to Carl because Carl comes home.
Yeah.
She like runs up to him.
She does that like little girl, daddy, and he like falls for it. Like, he is butter melting on a hot skillet for this.
She runs up, she bats her eyelashes. Did I ever tell you how you are the best daddy in the world, Dad? And he's like, no, go on.
Yeah.
She's like, the way that you make my lunch in the morning, the way you tell me like bedtime stories, like, I love you, Daddy. And he's like, ooh, like, yeah, I like this feeling. Like, Eddie doesn't do this to me anymore. Even Judy doesn't even talk to me. Judy doesn't even talk.
Like, does Judy exist?
And then so like Carl's like, oh yeah, like, you're great, Laura. And then she's like, so do you think I can go to this school dance on Friday? And he's like, yeah, why not? Harriet throws her hands on her hips, shakes her head no, and is like, come here, Carl. Her ass is not going to the school dance on Friday. You know that. You know that Laura cannot date till she's at least 18. Because I don't want no girl getting pregnant in this house. And Carl's like, oh, like, I suppose I should have ran this by you first.
Yeah, it's like, Harriet's like, this is not okay. She's like, you know what happens? They start getting serious, and no. And Eddie's never been the same since you let him start dating.
Yeah, Harriet rules the house. But there's kind of like a weird thing going on because like Laura's with her gal pals. They're at like the bowling alley or arcade or something.
Yeah, they're at like just like the malt shop.
Yeah, and
like, okay, did you actually like go and hang out at like a malt shop after school with your friends?
Yes and no. Like, we didn't have a malt shop, but we had an ice cream place that was within walking distance, but it was only open during like the spring and summer. So we would hang out there and we would just like buy ice cream. And then in the winter though, like, we really didn't do anything. Like, maybe we would just go to the movies or something, or the mall. Like, we'd have to get rides. So it was like difficult. So we would just kind of have to like hang outside and freeze our asses off.
Yeah. Like, we would maybe sometimes go into town, but there wasn't like one hangout place really.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to go into town, I'd have to like ride my bike. And a lot of times it was just cold and you had to go like up a hill.
Like, my middle school was like 3 blocks from downtown, if that, but like, that's like what dates were.
Well, like, if we had a half a day, like if we got out of school early, like sometimes we would get like half days, and like we'd get out at noon, and we would go to the pizza place, get a slice, and then we would walk home. We wouldn't hang out there like all day though, only because they would kick us out. Yeah,
like, we would maybe go back towards our own little neighborhoods and hang out at somebody's house.
And well, I had a paper route too, so I had to be done with that shit by like 4 p.m. So I had to scurry my little ass home and get those papers delivered and get tip money so I can go buy ice cream in the summer. Get extra cash to buy Green Day Dookie.
Let's be real. I just wanted to go home and watch my soap operas.
Yeah. So do we know that it was Laura's friend Penny? Was that her name?
I think so, yeah. Like, I don't think she's a friend that sticks around for many seasons.
Yeah, they just needed like temporary friend. So they're at the mall shop.
Yeah.
And Penny has a date to the dance. I forget. She's going with some other like cool dude.
Yeah, she's got a date. And like, almost everybody has dates except for like a handful of people. And Penny's like, you put yourself on the market too late. Like, okay, first of all, What?
I understand that kind of thing. It's like, this whole like girl group has dates and Laura doesn't have a date. So like they must think there's something wrong with her. Like they're like, what's wrong with this girl? Like, why does Laura not have a date?
But also, to be fair, like I'm guessing everybody knew Laura wasn't allowed to go to the dance until she got permission from Carl. So it's like, why is anybody going to ask her if they don't think she's going to go?
Maybe. Well, do you think they didn't want to ask her because her dad was a cop and that's just kind of like...
Yeah, I think Carl's scary. Like, in general, Carl should be terrifying to these boys.
Yeah, he has a gun. He can arrest you.
Mm-hmm.
He can throw you in the back of the squad car and he'd very easily get information on you.
Yeah, like, okay, to be fair, I'd probably be more scared of Harriet, in all honesty.
Yeah, but they probably don't know Harriet. They just know that...
Yeah, they don't know. They probably know Laura's dad's a cop, so you don't want to, like, mess with that.
Yeah, and there's probably, like, weird rumors, like, oh, he's, like, shot and killed people.
Yeah.
Remember that robbery heist that happened? Carl shot the robber. He has a Beretta.
Exactly.
But there's one guy that comes into the malt shop. I think was his name Mark?
Yeah, his name was Mark. He was like a cute little guy.
Yeah, he was like he didn't have a date, but he supposedly had his eyes set on someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But Laura was like, you know what, I'm going to try to like finagle that. I'm going to see like what I can get. There's also another rumor that the next door nerd to the Winslow family, Steve Urkel, apparently grew the courage to ask Laura out on a date. So he shows up at the malt shop. He has a rose in his hand. And he comes over, and he's not like Urkel yet, so he doesn't have like the weird catchphrases yet. Like he's not saying, "Did I do that?"
He's not developed yet. He has not become the Urkel monster that we know, love, and cringe at.
All we know about Urkel is that there's a rumor going around the school that he eats mice, like live mice.
Oh my god, that's like enough to be like, no, especially to a middle schooler. Like, no. Fuck no.
So he comes up. He actually grows the courage. He asks Laura out. Laura's like, oh, hell no. Get away from me, Urkel. And he just kind of like stumbles out of there. He like walks into the wall and stuff. And...
It's, you know what's fascinating to me? It's always like these nerdy guys that have the courage to make a move.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have the best friends that kind of, you know how like you were the friends and they built up this whole thing like, oh yeah, I get laid all the time. Oh yeah, I French kissed a girl at the dance last year. I'm going to definitely French kiss like 4 girls at the dance this year. So like Urkel doesn't have that friend group and that he has something to live up to.
Yeah.
I think that's my impression anyway. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to fucking do it. And if no, everyone hates me anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
Are they going to hate me even more? I already have this weird stigma over me that I eat mice. So what are they going to make fun of me because I asked a girl to a dance?
Like, I feel like Urkel is actually unaware of the rumors about him.
Yeah, he just goes home. He plays with his like weird sciencey stuff.
Like he's just in his bubble.
He stays out of it. He stays out of the madness.
Yeah, he just does his own thing.
Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Carl gets home. Actually, no. I'm sorry. Later on that day, Laura goes home and they're at the dinner table and she's all upset because she can't get a date.
Yes, they're all at the dinner table and it's that weird TV staging where they all sit on like one side of the dinner table with like 2 empty chairs. Like everybody's like on top of each other.
Yes, they're all next to each other. They're just passing around the old casserole dish.
Judy's complaining about Brussels sprouts.
Harriet's still fussy that Laura wants to go to the dance/party. Laura's upset because she doesn't have a date. Carl feels bad because I guess, maybe he knew what it was like to not have a date in middle school.
And Laura's complaining that the phone's not ringing anymore because there's obviously a dance coming up, so nobody's going to ask her, so the phone stops ringing.
Yeah, that's how they know a school dance is coming up because the phone doesn't ring at night anymore.
Which that's another thing. I'm like, wait a minute, Laura, you weren't allowed to go to dances before. Like, is this an ego thing? Like, girl, what?
I don't know. She lives in a fantasy world. Carl feels bad for Laura, so you know what? He slips into the living room, and he remembers, I guguess he's friends with Urkel's dad or something? I don't know. He has like a weird connection with him.
He met Mr. Urkel at the pet store when he was buying mice.
And they must have had like a long convo or something. I don't really know.
Yeah, they must have like had a conversation. Carl's all like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set up Laura with this like nice boy. He's never met Urkel at this point.
Doesn't know anything about him.
So he doesn't know what he's doing.
He just knows that Mr. Urkel has a son who is roughly the same age as Laura. Mm-hmm. Maybe Mr. Urkel is a handsome guy. I don't know. Like, did we ever meet Mr. Urkel?
No, I don't think we ever meet Steve's parents.
Like, he could be Shema Moore, like.
Yeah. Oh. Like Christophe St. John. Oh.
So.
Sorry. It got hot in here.
Yeah. Carl sets Laura up with Urkel.
Yeah. But
never tells Laura. It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be the night of the dance. and Laura's going to come down in her little fancy S dress, and Urkel's going to be at the door, and it's probably going to be this handsome young man. But before we get there, Laura actually grows the courage to ask out Mark, because she decides that before Mark gets the opportunity to ask that other girl that he was going to ask to the dance, she's just going to jump ahead and do it. And he just says, okay, like, I don't have to, like, make that awkward phone call and ask out the other girl, so I'll just say yes to Laura.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to ask out that other girl.
He probably, like, wanted one of his friends to do it or something.
Yeah.
Or, like, pass along a note in class, but he just didn't get the chance to do it yet. Eddie also feels bad and pays one of his friends $10 to go to the dance with Laura. So now, like, unbeknownst to Laura, she now has 3 dates to the dance. Yeah.
Okay, this poor girl. Could you imagine your father setting you up and your brother paying a friend to go out with you?
Oh, I would have moved out of town. I would have been like, I'm moving to a whole new school, girl.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, no.
Now it's the day of the dance. I guess, like, Harriet just gives in. Like, there's nothing she can do about it, because Aunt Rachel has already made a dress for Laura. It's like a weird, like, American Doll-like dress, too. It's, like, not something...
Yeah, it really is. It was awkward.
I don't know, like, did you wear dresses like that to school dances?
Not really. No, we were... Like, okay, so, like, your first school dance, you get dressed up because you don't know, like, what you're supposed to wear. And then after that, it's, like, your jeans and your, like, Green Day t-shirt.
Yeah, because, like, you're way overdressed the first time.
And the older kids make fun of you.
Yeah, well, because, like, you probably get to the dance, you're all fucking dolled up. I think our school dances were, like, usually, like, 7th, 8th, and maybe 9th grade at the same time.
Like, ours were 7th and 8th grade because that's just how it was.
Yeah, like, you were in, like, the 7th grade, you see the 8th and 9th graders, and they're just super casual, and you're like, oh, fuck, like, why am I wearing this shirt and tie? Like, that dude's just wearing his, like, flannel, his cool flannel.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that dude... that guy on that one show, and we're dressed in our, like, Sunday best because our moms still dressed us.
Well, the only time that you ever got, like, super snazzy was, like, the semi-formal. That was it. Like, the 8th grade semi.
Our 8th grade graduation. That was when we did it.
But if you just went to, like, the random, like, spring fling or something, you didn't really get dressed up.
Exactly. Like, the only dances I ever actually got, like, dressed up for were, like, in high school, and it was, like, homecoming and prom.
Laura gets all super dressed up, and apparently there's, like, a loose thread on the dress that, like, Harriet pulls. She's like, oh, Laura, there's, like, a loose thread. She pulls it, and then, like, unravels the whole fucking dress.
Yes, it's like, way to go, Rachel. Great seamstress work here.
I thought, like, Rachel got pissed that Harriet pulled the thread, and then I was just like, why is, like, Rachel pissed that she pulled the thread? Like, what if, like, it accidentally got pulled at the dance?
Exactly. Like, how embarrassing would that be for Laura?
Yeah. So Harriet technically did a good thing. And then, like, she was, like, forced to wear, like, a different dress. Like a lesser cool dress, but I actually liked that dress better than the one that she originally was supposed to wear.
Oh yeah, that dress was like a million times better. It was a better color for her, better cut.
Less American Dolly looking.
Yes, it really was.
So now Laura comes down.
Like Samantha would never wear that dress.
No. So Laura comes down because, all right, so hold on. Before Laura comes down, Carl's in the living room. The doorbell rings and Urkel arrives for the dance. And he has like a rose, like a rose for her. And Carl's all excited, but I guess Carl's like, go in the kitchen for a little bit. We want this to be a surprise for Laura, like, when you're here. Like, we want like you to already be here to show that, like, you're a great gentleman or something. So, like, he goes in the kitchen for, like, a few minutes. Mm-hmm. That's when Eddie runs in the door with his friend Tyrone, I think was his name. And Carl's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, no, Eddie, like, you weren't supposed to do this.
Also, can we point out that this kid is, like, 2 years older than Laura?
Yeah, it's super noticeable, too. It's, like, he's already hit puberty.
Yeah, it's, like, kind of awkward.
Urkel hasn't.
And he's gonna go to a middle school dance? Like, they're not gonna let him in.
I mean, unless it's, like, a weird school that allows us. I don't know. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Then Laura's real date shows up. Mark shows up. So now, there's, like, 3 guys in the living room. Mm-hmm. Laura comes down. She's all confused. She's pissed that, you know, Eddie tried to set her up on a date. Her dad tried to set her up on a date. She just wanted to go with Mark, and it's a whole fucking shebang. Like, it's...
Yeah, and then she runs out to the sun porch and has to have her heart-to-heart with Harriet.
Honestly, I think I, like, kind of checked out at this point. Like, what do they talk about?
Basically, Laura confessed that she asked Mark out because it's 1989, and bitch, she can do that.
Yeah, I love Harriet's attitude here. Like, she's like, you know what? You don't need to wear a dress. You need to wear pants, girl, and you need to take charge of the situation. It's going to be 1990 in 2 weeks, and it's a 90s kind of world, and I'm glad I got my girls, so...
And Laura leaves, and Harriet has this moment with God. She's like, please let this boy like my daughter. Please let him like her.
Harriet must have had a horrible, like, first dance situation then, judging by that prayer to God. But we don't really get Do we get like a dance wrap-up scene though, or it just kind of ends though, right?
We get a scene afterwards where, first Laura goes with Mark, and then Steve is like, "Can I hang out here? My parents told me not to come home before 10." But we forgot about his super problematic moment when he sees Laura in the dress and he goes, "Oh my God, are you wearing a bra?" Like, it was so awkward.
Oh yeah. So when he first sees her,
yeah,
that's kind of like, I wouldn't say that in front of the parents. I don't know, like that just like, I'm surprised that Carl didn't just like immediately kick him out like right then and there.
Yeah, like, this is so problematic. This is Steve Urkel is. Like, you and I talked about this a few weeks ago. I don't remember if it was on podcast or not. But Steve Urkel is super problematic. I think we just talked about it in our private chat.
Yes, so he's weird. Like, he's super sexualized over Laura.
Yeah, like, he's creepy. He's stalkerish. Everybody's just like, "Oh, Laura, just be nice to him." Like, she has no fucking reason to be nice to this guy. He's creepy as fuck. She doesn't owe him anything.
He just shows up all the fucking time.
He ruins her life.
Trying to, like, create scenarios where he always is constantly interjecting himself into her life.
Like, it's just like, no. Like, in today's world, Steve would know. He would not, none of this would be acceptable.
Yeah, like, it's just weird. Like, why does Carl, like, just not go over and just have a sit down with Mr. Urkel and, like, "Hey, your son is not allowed at my fucking house anymore, dude. Like, keep your goddamn son out of my life." Like, just...
I think it's because Steve's parents just don't give a shit about Steve. And so Carl feels bad.
Is that the deeper issue of the series? That Urkel doesn't have a good relationship with his parents?
Yeah, like, they vanish.
They just don't give a fuck.
And leave him alone for holidays and stuff. Because, like, that's what I was watching. I was watching Christmas episodes of old TGIF shows, and... like, Urkel would worm his way into the Winslow family Christmases.
Yeah, he...
guilt trip Laura. It was disgusting. It was so hard to watch.
Yeah, like, he'd wake up on Christmas morning, his family didn't get him any gifts. He was just alone.
Mm-hmm.
Probably had to, like, make his own food.
Yeah.
So I guess, in a way, I feel bad for him, but in a way, he's creepy.
It's so gross. Like, just so gross.
He's young, too. Like, he's preteen at this point.
Yeah.
And he grows up to be this way. Like, right now, Urkel is probably... just a creepy ass 40-something-year-old man
who marries Laura.
Yeah, he finally gets Laura. Like, it takes a while.
He wears her down. He literally wears her down. It's disgusting. "I'm wearing you down, baby. I'm wearing you down."
To tie it back into Thelma and Louise, it's now 20-something. What year? We're in 2018 now.
Yes, it's 2018.
Laura has been married to Urkel forever. It's been years and years and years. 18, 19, 20 years. Her life is miserable. She's had to put up with her fucking husband all these years. He doesn't let her leave the house. And one day, Laura has her own Louise type. She calls her up and it's like, "You know what? Fuck it. We're going on a road trip, girl. We're going to Vegas. We're going on a girls trip." And Laura's like, "All right, let's do it." Laura and Louise are out there, out in the world right now.
Escaping Urkel.
Laura's probably shacking up with Shema Moore types.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, can you blame her?
That is the Family Matters fan fiction that Kat Halstead's going to be working on this year. Adult Laura.
Yeah, right after all the other fanfics you say I'm going to write and never will.
Yeah, so we'll add it to the list. Stephanie's Wilder Ride, Home Alone Summer Break, and now we have Laura and Louise. Do you have any other thoughts on Family Matters in general?
You know, I like the Winslow family. I like the dynamic. As a grown-up in 2018, Urkel is the worst. Like, okay, you know how people hate Ross Geller in retrospect? No, that is nothing compared to how much I dislike Urkel. Urkel is like 20 times worse than Ross Geller could ever be.
Yeah, Urkel is the worst. You heard it here first.
So,
what are we doing next week? What are we stepping into?
Next week, we are actually going to the mothership. We are doing Perfect Strangers.
Yes. So in the world of Perfect Strangers, Harriet was the elevator operator in the office that Larry worked in.
At the newspaper, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's how they spun off Family Matters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of weird. So we were originally supposed to do Perfect Strangers first, but I fucked up and said Family Matters in the last episode.
Hashtag Patrick, this is why I own 1% more than you.
So we fucked up. So we were going to do it in order, but apparently we didn't. So who cares? But we're going into that world of Family Matter. We're going into that world of Perfect Strangers, and we are excited for it.
I'm so excited. I love Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, also available on Hulu.
So yeah.
Yeah, so where can you follow us? Where can you follow our wacky adventures?
Excuse me, you can follow us on Twitter at VeryPodcast. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at A Very Special Podcast. You can check us out online at averyspecialpodcast.com and saltyrockmedia.com.
Yes, follow all adventures. We write articles and stuff on saltyrockmedia.com also, so maybe we'll do a feature on Urkelos. Who knows?
And then you can also check out like our other podcast, Getting Catty. We are currently diving into the world of the assassination of Gianni Versace.
Yes, and listen to the Why Not 21 Bros, the 90210 themed podcast.
And, you know, we've got other stuff coming up in the near future. We have the launch of the Duck Ball podcast for Celebrity Big Brother coming.
Yes, any day now, girl. That cast reveal is coming up shortly. So definitely.
Oh, God.
Yes, so rate, review, subscribe, and everything else that you do with podcasts. And as always,
bye.
watch the skies.